Okay, so this is part 2 of the 3-part tutorial to draw this portrait. But if you want to just use it as a standalone tutorial or standalone video, that's up to you. Practice makes perfect, and practicing different parts of the face or of the body really helps get you to where you want to be. So in this video, I'll be using a putty eraser, a pencil eraser, a blending stump, a couple of different ones, a 3B pencil, a 8B black pencil. This one is a Mars Lumograph pencil, a mechanical 4B pencil, and an Imposca paint pen. The drawing paper again that I'm using in this one is just a cheap drawing pad, sketch pad that you can buy in most high street stores. This is to keep things simple, and this is just so that you can practice your drawing. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you get practicing, and let's begin.
Okay, so we've sketched out the nose and the mouth, and so I'm just going to start using my mechanical pencil, my 2B mechanical pencil, just to start blocking in some of this dark area and just defining some of the edges around the nose and the mouth. So I'm just going to start to shade in some of the lips. Using fairly light pressure here. And again, as always, don't draw the actual teeth you're drawing. If you draw the teeth, then they'll look very blocky, whereas if you draw the shapes around the teeth, then you'll find a much better look. I do have a little video that I'm going to be putting up about drawing teeth. It is something that a lot of people struggle with. If you want a full depth, as always, if you want a full depth tutorial that you can follow in real time, I do have this over on my Patreon. When you sign up to my Patreon, you will also have access to myself asking questions via a private messaging group. And also, it helps me produce more videos like this when I have people signing up. Okay, so I'm starting to shade in the nose. I'm using the side of my pencil and I'm just blocking in some graphite now to give some texture to the skin. So if you enjoy this video, please don't forget to give it a like. And if you want to see more, please don't forget to subscribe. Okay, so I'm using my blending stump now to smooth in that graphite. Just going a little bit darker where I can see that there's some shading, just to create some shape to the nose. And don't forget the shadowed areas that you can see in your reference picture. So where you see the darker pictures, obviously press a little bit harder with your blending stump. And as always, the most part of drawing in graphite pencil is just moving the graphite about on the paper and using your erasers to erase it. So I'm coming in now with my 6B pencil, just to add a little bit more shape in the darker areas. And I'm using a pencil eraser just to take away some of that graphite, highlight certain areas. And don't forget to make your darkest areas dark, so don't be afraid of blacks. They will give your photo or your picture depth. A lot of people will be afraid to go dark, and they don't quite go dark enough, and a lot of the pictures that they draw, you just think if you just went a little bit darker, it would really make the picture stand out. I'm using my mechanical 2B pencil just to draw that darker area around, just to blend it in so it's not too harsh. And this really is a way to practice drawing your portraits. If you just practice doing these types of drawings, you'll get better. And then when you come to do your full portrait, you can use some of the skills that you've picked up along the way and apply them to your main drawing. It's much easier to make mistakes on smaller bits of paper than it is on your main portrait. So I'm adding in now some of these freckles. So I'm using my 2B pencil just to lightly add in the freckles. The thing with drawing freckles, unless you're doing a photo realistic or hyper realistic picture, is you want to make sure that you put the main obvious freckle. So if there's any particular pattern or any particular freckle that's standing out, obviously include those, and then the others you don't have to be quite so particular over. And if you notice what I did there is I actually went and touched the freckles that I drew in with the blending stump just to smooth them in slightly so they take away those sharp edges. So I'm using a mixture here of blending stumps, pencils and erasers just to put in these highlights and these darker areas and smoothing them and blending them together. Now again with the lips, I'm just putting down a layer of graphite so that I can use that and work that into the lips. I've also tried to go slightly in the direction of some of the texture of the lips here, but at this stage I'm not too worried because I'm going to blend that together using a blending stump. And then it's about layering. So layering in the darker areas. I'm going to draw down some of the skin around the mouth here just to make it sort of fit this little sketch. And if you notice, I've left the teeth at the moment because we want to make them look realistic. So at the moment they're very white, but we will shape them shortly. So I'm using a kneaded eraser here just to put in some highlights, just to sort of get some of that chin shape. And now again I'm coming in with my 8B Mars Lumograph pencil just to bring in those really dark areas. And again I'm drawing the gums and the shapes that you can see around the teeth rather than drawing the teeth themselves. The teeth themselves will then naturally appear. And you can sort of shape the teeth gradually using your dark pencils. The gums aren't quite so dark here, so I'm using my 2B pencil. We'll see I go into further depth of all of this over on my Patreon. If you sign up, you will get access to myself, so you'll be able to ask me questions via a messaging service that I have, and I will be able to personally help you in your drawing. I'm just smoothing that in. So again, using my pencils, going back and forth until I'm happy, reshaping some of these, and now with the teeth I'm just very lightly adding some graphite around the edge of these teeth. I'm doing that so that we can then use the blending stump to draw that across the teeth and give them that shape. See, so now I'm using my blending stump just to smooth that in and actually create shape to these teeth. Now I want to also tidy up bottom area of these teeth. I'm just using a eraser just to highlight the top parts, just so they can shine and give them shape. Going over the lips and all of these areas where I see that they're darker, adding in the darkness, taking away with the erasers to add in any highlights. This gives shape and depth to your mouth as you build it up in layers. Just adding that texture to these lips. So if you are interested in really learning how to draw, obviously I keep going on about my Patreon, but if you do go over to that, I will be able to also help you out with any other drawings that you're doing, not just the drawings on my tutorials. Okay, so then if you want to highlight some areas with a paint pen, you can. This does help along the way. And then there you have your finished picture. So this is obviously a good way to practice doing portraits, is to do different areas of the face. I hope you've liked this video. Give it a like, and I hope you subscribe, and please check out my Patreon.